Carl, Conor Benn returns on Saturday night. He's going to fight in Orlando, Florida against Orozco, this Mexican individual. In your view, and the significant aspect of this, Carl, after everything that's happened, it's not here in the UK, it's over in the US. In your view, should he be fighting at all?
Well, listen, if I was managing him and if I was training him, I'd want him busy and I'd want him out there training and fighting. I want him fighting and competing because he needs to. It's been 18 months. It's too long. He needs to be out there. And because I want him to see him back in action and want him to see him in meaningful fights moving forward, then yes, I do think he should be fighting. But I can see the flip side of that, which I know you're going to pull me up on. He's been banned by the British Boxing Board of Control, or UKAD. He's failed a drug test. And the integrity of the sport will be in question because of him fighting. So it's a bit of a catch-22, really.
And in what direction do you go then? Personally, and I know that you're a great exponent for your own sport. You want the standards to be as high as they possibly can be. You want rules to be observed. I'm sure you do, Carl. In your view, should he be fighting? Listen,
absolutely. Well, if he's legitimately and legally allowed to fight and he's been licensed in the state of, is it Florida he's fighting? Then he should be fighting. But what he does need to do almost immediately after having this fight, which is just a tune-up fight, he's fighting someone who's ranked. I mean, it's not even worth mentioning his ranking. This guy can't lace Conor Benn's boots. It's just to keep him busy. It'll be like a 1 or 2 round sparring session. But when he comes back from this fight, I'd like to see him sit in front of the British Boxing Board of Control and get this issue resolved. And then I'll be smiling, I'll be happy. Otherwise, then I'll be very disappointed with him.
You have strong views on lots of things, Carl. You must have. I know what you've just said there, which is you'd like to see him sit in front of UKAD, but you must have strong views about this because ultimately, what we've got is a situation where no one wants to vilify Conor Benn, and whether myself and Eddie Hearn get on is incidental. But I think the actual issues of the way he's been handled and the fact that he's got himself out from underneath solely on a jurisdiction issue brings a sport that you have a great deal of regard for, has made you a Hall of Famer with your talent, of course, into a disrepute. He really must, Carl, mustn't he? He really must go and clear his name rather than find a way to get round it.
I think he has to, yes. I mean, because he's early on in his career and we want to see him build in Britain as a British fighter, I think he has to go in front of the board and clear his name and, then move on with his career. But Tyson Fury's not got a British Boxing Board of Control licence, but that's the argument that I've been seeing on some of the comments that will be coming after this.
Different he's a world...
But yeah, he's a world champion and he fights a lot overseas. And he
served a ban, Carl, though, didn't he? Whether it was a ridiculous ban during whether it was one of those ridiculous bans when he actually wasn't fighting, but he still got sanctioned, didn't he?
He did, yeah. And this is why I just think Conor Benn needs to get on with it because he's wasting time and his career's at stake now. He needs to be moving on. And these bans, I mean, some of the bans, I don't think they're heavy enough. I'm not saying punish Conor Benn more, but Tyson Fury served the ban when he was already not fighting because he fights once or twice a year. Canelo Alvarez did a 6-month ban for a failed contaminated drugs test.
Povetkin,
I mean, the list goes on and on over the years. Roy Jones Jr., there's top fighters over the years that have failed drugs test and then
How good do you think he is, Carl? How good do you think how good do you think Conor Benn is? Do you think he's a potential world title winner?
Listen, I love his fight against Chris Algieri. I know Algieri was past his best and whatever, but I was with Algieri when Canelo Alvarez fought Billy Joe Saunders, and he was in the gym and he was training hard. He was running in the morning because he was getting himself ready. He was still in the mix, still fighting. All right, it was at the end of his career, but Conor Benn wiped him out, obliterated him. Yeah. He's aggressive. He's a really exciting prospect. He's good to watch. There's not many fighters now that walk to the ring and make the back of your hairs on your neck stand up. Yeah. And Conor Benn's got that name and he's got that mindset and that attitude where when he gets in the ring, he goes in there to destroy his opponent. Yeah. And it's exciting to see and you want to watch him do well. So I think he's a great prospect. I think he's a fantastic talent. I know he didn't have a big amateur career, but I think he could do very well as a professional. But he has to get this dark cloud away from his head and move on with his career. And he's only going to do that by going in front of the Board of Control.
More importantly, Carl, how's your paddle game?
Hey,
still writing those checks you can't cash.
Listen, I was going to say, don't worry about the paddle game.
Don't worry about it.
You need to start worrying. Because...
I'll see you on Saturday. We'll have that conversation.
Carl, you'll be concentrating on your co-commentary game on Saturday night. Carl Froch with us, and Carl on duty for talkSPORT on Saturday night, because while Ben is fighting in Orlando, Florida, Zhilei Zhang goes in again against Joyce. The rematch, live and exclusive from 7 o'clock this Saturday, right here on the talkSPORT network.